This is testimony that I'm reading that someone else is going to give. Just bear with me a second. So good afternoon. This hearing is called to order. This is the public hearing of the City Council Committee on Labor and Civil Service. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear testimony on Bill number 170366. I recognize that the presence of a quorum of committee members are present. Members of the committee in attendance are Councilman Dom, Councilmember Taubenberger, our president, Council President Clark is here. I am here, and we do know that our Vice Chair O'Neill and Councilmember Sanchez are on their way. Are there? And Councilwoman Sanchez is walking in as we speak. We're going to ask Councilman Taubenberger, the sponsor of Bill number 170366, to make some comments relative to the subject of this bill.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. And this bill hopes to address a problem for many people. It is a deeply personal problem to me in that my son is a Pennsylvania State Trooper, and many a night I lay awake worrying about his safety and dreading what would become of his family and his wife if, God forbid, he should die in the line of duty. We as a city need to do more to protect our police officers, our firefighters, our paramedics, our EMTs, and raising the amount of the Hero Awards is really a great start. And we've asked for an increase in this amount, but hopefully, Madam Chair and members of the committee, it is my wish and hope that none of this ever has to be spent, that none of this ever has to be allocated. I think it is a great start, though, to show the families that we care deeply. It is something in addition that might help a significant burden in a very burdensome situation. Once again, hopefully it never has to be spent. Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Taubenberger. Will the clerk now read the title of the bill being considered today?
Amending Section 21-105 of the Philadelphia Code entitled Hero Awards by increasing the amount that may be awarded to family members of firefighters, police officers, and prosecution detectives killed in the course of performing heroic deeds, and by making certain technical changes, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call up the first witness to testify on the bills? The first panel?
Yeah.
Yes, so it's just one? Well, why don't we have the entire panel to come forward?
Francis T. Healy, Special Advisor to the Police Commissioner, Adam K. Teal, Fire Commissioner, Nick Denofa, Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 5, Ed Marks, President, Firefighters Union, Local 22.
Let me say good afternoon to each of you, and as you're ready to proceed, I just ask that you state your name for the record and feel free to proceed with your testimony, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chairwoman Parker and members of the Committee on Labor and Civil Service. I am Adam Teal, Commissioner of the Philadelphia Fire Department. I am here today to testify in support of Bill number 170366, sponsored by Council members Taubenberger, Dom, O'Neill, Parker, and Council President Clark, which seeks to increase the amount awarded to family members of firefighters, police officers, and prosecution detectives killed in the course of performing heroic deeds. The Hero Award, which currently stands at $25,000, was last increased in 2002. The cost of living has gone up since then, and Bill number 170366 would help close this gap by raising the award to $35,000. The bill would also shorten the period over which the funds are distributed from 50 months to 35 months. Both changes would signal strong support for grieving families. Firefighters have been serving Philadelphia for more than 280 years. They risk their lives every day to protect the residents of this city. When they make the ultimate sacrifice, the city should honor that loss and support the family members left behind. Our colleagues in law enforcement deserve the same recognition. Thank you for inviting me to testify in support of this important legislation. I would be happy to answer any questions, and further, I understand there has been an amendment proposed, and we are in full support of that amendment. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Councilman. My name is Edward Marks. I'm Vice President of Local 22 of the International Association of Professional Firefighters and Paramedics. I'm honored to be here today speaking on a matter as important as this. I'd first like to thank Councilman Taubenberger for introducing this amendment to the current legislation. It isn't often that we have the ability to address these kinds of matters. Usually we're focusing on our time and energy on trying to prevent the tragedies the Hero Award recognizes. I speak for myself and the men and women I represent in thanking you for taking the time to take this proposal into consideration. Like the Commissioner said, when Councilman Teutenberger told me about this, I did some research and found out that the Hero Award was established in 1953. The last time there was any changes made to it was 15 years ago, where it was raised to $25,000, and that was proposed by then Councilman Jim Kinney. I'd like to give you a brief history of my career in the fire department. I was appointed to the department in 1974, and I served for 38 years, advancing through the ranks from firefighter to lieutenant captain, and then my last 10 years as a battalion chief. In the span of 38 plus years that I was in, 44 people died in the line of duty. 44 people in 38 years. That's 44 families who watched their loved one go off to work and didn't return that day. 44 families whose lives were changed forever. But the men and the women of this proud department know these risks and to continue to answer the bell and respond to all types of emergencies. My first 2 years as a battalion chief, I was assigned up at the academy as deputy director of training. And that was a pretty rewarding assignment, being up there with the training, and especially when we train new recruits. But the downside of being assigned up at the academy is it's the academy's responsibility to bury our lost members when they die in the line of duty. In the 2 years that I was up there, I had to handle 4. It was, excuse me, it was firefighter Jim Allen, Lieutenant Derek Harvey, Captain John Taylor, and firefighter Ray Rubio. I'm sure most everyone in this room attended the funeral of a fallen firefighter or police officer. It's quite impressive when you see the turnout of our members and the members from outside departments. You see the ceremonies, the formations, the processions to the cemeteries. There's civilians along the procession route. They're holding flags, saluting our fallen members, and bowing their head and saying prayers. But our duties don't stop after the funeral. We continue to support the families through this terrible adjustment period with counseling and any other support that we can offer. So I sit here today confident and proud that I am able to tell you that the brave men and women that don our uniforms are some of the very best individuals that this city has produced. They do their work not for the glory or the accolades, not for the money or the rewards. They do their work because it's a life calling. Having seen firsthand the sorrow and the hardships that a line of duty death places on our members' family, I can tell you that this award has an immediate impact on helping the family through these difficult times. It is unfortunate, but often the member that dies is usually the breadwinner of the family. By increasing this level of this award, what we are telling our heroes is that we, the City of Philadelphia, are there for them and their families as they were there for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Parker and members of the Committee on Labor and Civil Service. My name is Francis Healy, and I'm Special Advisor to Commissioner Ross. On behalf of the Commissioner, I would like to thank you for giving the Police Department the opportunity to voice its opinion regarding Bill number 170366 relating to Hero Awards. As you know, the current Hero Award set forth in City Code 21-105 is $25,000 awarded to the surviving spouse or dependent children or dependent parents of every firefighter or police officer and detective as well, killed in the course of performing a heroic deed. The payment of this amount is currently $500 stretched over a 50-month period. I'm here today to fully support the increasing this award to $35,000. I also understand the amendment is up to $50,000. We fully support that as well. The fear of the police officers, and I'm sure the same is true for firefighters, is not the dangers we face each day. The brave women, men and women of our police and fire departments run towards danger willingly to serve and protect. Rather, the top fear of these men and women is not being there to support their families. To the families, money can never replace the heroes we lose. But to those police and firefighters on the street today, this bill will show that the city cares about them and, equally important, about their families. So on behalf of my commissioner and my officers, I would like to thank Councilman Teutenberger, Councilman Dom, Councilwoman Parker, and Council President Clark for introducing this bill. At this time, I'd happy to answer any questions. This concludes my testimony. Thank you.
Now we can hear this
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Council President Clark, Chairperson Parker, Councilman Dom, Tallenberger, Sanchez, and O'Neill. On behalf of President John McNesby, my name is Nick Denofa. I'm one of the Vice Presidents of Fraternal Order Police. I would like to personally thank this committee for your consideration of the Heroes Award bill increase. No amount of money can ever replace the family member who was suddenly destroyed by violence. This is particularly true when the family members are public servants who voluntarily give up their lives for the fellow citizens. Nevertheless, the Fraternal Order of Police deeply appreciates the compassion and generosity demonstrated by this council in the creation of the Heroes Award. The financial assistance provided by the Heroes Award helps take one new burden off the shoulders of a grief-stricken family. However, with that, everything else, costs has steadily risen since the original bill was passed at its fixed amount. This is the reason we are respectfully requesting a generous increase in the amount offered. The additional funds will allow you to compensate future families with the same level of generosity you had shown the families in the past. On behalf of our members and their families, we are counting on your continued compassion and support. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me thank you all for your testimony, and for the record, let me acknowledge that one of the bill's co-sponsors and the vice chair of the Labor and Civil Service Committee, Councilman O'Neill, is present. So thank you, Councilman O'Neill, for being here. And I see three lights on thus far. We'll start with you, Councilman, go to Councilwoman Sanchez, and then to you, Councilman Don.
Just a couple of quick things. One, I want to thank and congratulate Councilman Talberger for bringing this proposal to the council in the form of a bill, but also obviously working with the parties to increase it. I know it's based on discussions and outreach. But thirdly, the administration. Two commissioners here and represented. In the last term, I'm not sure that we would have not had some pushback, and it was nice to know that everybody feels exactly the same way, and that this is not a money issue. This is a do it right issue. And just want to thank the administration as well and point out that that was noticed. Thank you.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Thank you. I also want to thank my colleague. He was lobbying last night, and I was like, this is a no-brainer one. But I did have some logistical questions for Healy in terms of, do all of the survivors get grandfathered? Are people going to be able to go back and receive additional money, or this is moving forward? So everyone who's entitled, what's that universe look like?
It would be my understanding, I can't speak for the law department's interpretation of the code, but the code would be not retroactive, so those individuals that were killed committing heroic acts prior to the enactment of this amount would be entitled to the $25,000. So
Okay.
every time the amendment goes up, it doesn't go retroactive. That would be my understanding.
Okay, that's an important note to have. And then, so this is only for new folks moving forward?
That's my understanding, yes, ma'am.
Or no one who's currently on the payment?
I believe there are. I'm not sure.
So they wouldn't be eligible?
I don't believe so.
Okay, well, good to know. All right, thank you very much. I'm happy to support this.
Thank you. Councilman Don.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and thank you to this illustrious panel, by the way, for being here today. I want to thank my colleague, Councilman Taubenberger. This is a good bill. I just have a couple of questions I wanted to understand. God forbid we have a loss in the future. Is there a life insurance for police and fire that also add additional benefits to the families?
It's my well, yeah, if we can speak to, I do believe there's both federal and state money available to police and firefighters killed or died in the line of duty. I believe so, yes. So there's other monies available, not just the $25,000,
Right.
$35,000.
Do you know what the amount of life insurance would be available?
If you,
Councilman, I think it actually varies depending on the individual, because folks generally have a choice about whether to elect higher amounts of coverages. The benefit, there is a federal benefit, the public safety officer's benefit that's administered through the Department of Justice. One of the challenges with that, although certainly it's appreciated, it generally takes a fair amount of time to get through the federal process. So this is actually one of the the earliest forms of assistance that the city can provide while they're waiting for, the survivors are waiting for the state monies to become available or the federal process to unfold. And then the life insurance, it really is sort of on a case-by-case basis. We can, that really would be a risk management. Probably they could answer that question more precisely, and we can get back to you with an answer through them if you want.
I just feel like this is great that my colleague's increasing it, but the amount even we're giving is extremely low in today's world. It's embarrassing to say $50,000 for someone who lost his life. And I would like to see us have a life insurance program where it's several $100,000s that the family gets. I mean, this is a big deal. So, and maybe there's a way to leverage, by the way, the $50,000 a year into a much bigger life insurance for those who actually get affected. So that's why I think we should look at that, because maybe this is a good start, but it can be leveraged into something much better. Thank you. Thank you for being here today.
Councilman Taubenberger?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your leadership in calling the committee together and being supportive of the entire process and being a co-sponsor to this. I want to thank the panel for their service, obviously their testimony, and their willingness to work with us, and also the administration. I think it does send a very, very important note that the Kenny administration is supportive of these measures. I thank you all, and Madam Chair, whenever you're set for my motion, I will do that.
Sure. Thank you. Is there anyone else present who wishes to testify on Bill number 170366? So hearing none, this concludes the public hearing. We will now go into a public meeting to consider the action to be taken on the bill that was heard today. The chair recognizes Councilmember Taubenberger for a motion on the amendment to Bill number 170366.
Madam Chair, I offer an amendment to Bill number 170366. A copy of this amendment has been circulated to all members of the committee, and I move that the amendment to Bill number 170366 be approved.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to Bill number 170366 be approved. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries, and the amendment to Bill number 170366 has been approved. The chair now recognizes Councilmember Taubenberger for a motion on Bill number 170366 as amended.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the Bill number 170366 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the very next session of council.
Second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that the bill number 170366 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading of this bill at the next session of council. All those in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries, and bill number 170366 as amended will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. While this concludes the business of the Committee on Labor and Civil Service today, we want to thank each and every one of you for participating today, and for those at home who are watching. I do want to say to you, Councilman Taubenberger, again, a special thanks for your leadership on this issue, but I think Vice Chairman Councilman O'Neill hit the hammer directly on top of the nail when he noted that the kumbaya togetherness that was reached in order to move this forward. If we can find a way, Councilman O'Neill, to duplicate that in all other areas of government and policy that we're working on, it would definitely be a move in the right direction. So thank you, Councilman Taubenberger, for your leadership, and thank each and every one of you for participating. Have a good day.